We're here to celebrate the athletic success of Indian athletic success in the last few events. We've also seen cricket just making an entry into almost on the verge of being part of the Olympic program. So do you think probably cricket already being so popular in this country kind of steals the thunder of of the emergence of track and field and other athletic events?
Look, track and field is extremely strong and it is the #1 Olympic sport. And the introduction of new sports always has to be considered and has to be balanced. And I hope and I recognise that Olympic broadcast services, the individual responsibility of television sports editors to make sure that there is a balance and that a country isn't just showing sports that are particularly popular. In the United Kingdom, when we had the London Olympic Games, and the BBC and various other domestic channels weren't just showing the sports, they weren't just showing track and field all the time, they were showing all the other sports that the United Kingdom, Great Britain were very strong in. So there has to be a recognition that there is editorial balance as well, that you have to accept. That cricket is a very powerful, strong force in many parts of the world.
Yeah. So I think there's nothing wrong with cricket being into the Olympic sport, though not too many countries play it, and I have no problem with that. But look at what is happening now. See the winds of change. The cricketers are lining up to take pictures with Neeraj Chopra. So that's the change. And that's where you're going to keep seeing things happening. It's just the beginning in Indian athletics. Wait for a few years and you've already seen the start of cricketers wanting to take pictures with Neeraj, so more such things will continue to happen.
Hi, good morning. This is Devarchit from PTI. Adil sir, can you please possibly update us about India's formal interest in hosting the World Athletics Championship in 2027? Have we formally made a bid for it? If you can share an update.
We haven't made a formal bid, but we are discussing that internally, and in the next couple of days we will finalize that.
Mr. Ko, you said that in your last term you want to focus on things that are working in the sport and things that are not working. Can you tell us what is it that is working and what is not working? And Adil, could you also answer that question in the Indian context? What is it that is working in Indian athletics and what is it that is not working?
That's a great question. And the focus that we are taking at the moment is to make sure that any judgments that we make about our sport is based on data and is driven by data. There is no place for a misplaced nostalgia or instinct or that's what I think, or we need to make those judgments and we need to make them based on research. And that started in a very serious way in Budapest. Now before that, we've been looking at many of our events, we've been assessing broadcast, we've been assessing interest, media coverage, but actually for the first time in Budapest, we started to engage with those watching the championships on television, those that were in the stadium as well, asking them what they enjoyed, what they felt, just to observe about our championships. What did they like? What didn't they like? What did they find interesting? Where was their focus? Where were they struggling in some places? So it's not that we have, at this moment, a list of things that are necessarily working or not working. You have to say off the back of this current season, a lot of things are working well. We probably had our best ever World Championships across a whole series of metrics. When you look at the way the city absorbed them, the friendliness, the stadium capacities, the performances of our athletes, the political support, that was a high benchmark. But we've also had 7 world records this year. 2 of them in the very last afternoon of a Diamond League final. at the end of the season. We've had the best ever Diamond League season. So this has been an extraordinary season. We've had our Continental Tour events that have really begun to blossom, which is what I wanted, because one of my ambitions 8 years ago was to breathe life, more life into our one-day events, and that's exactly what has been happening. So we have an innovation unit now. We have 4 core pillars in our sport that really drive the sport across our strategic plan and our world plan. That's about participation, it's about partnerships, it's about more people in the sport, and ultimately it's growing the fan base. To that we're adding a 5th pillar, which is about innovation and looking at the innovation in relation to our sport. What are the rules and regulations that are slowing our sport down? What are the changes we can make to competition that lend understanding for people, particularly watching the sport for the first time, which is what a lot of people do on the big moments that we are at World Championships or on television at an Olympic Games. All these things are up for review, and we're in a hurry because we want to get these things in place so that we can go on growing the sport. And this year was probably the best opportunity that we've had to be able to make the point that yes, we're strong, but we can be even stronger. And the reason that we will be even stronger is we are prepared to make some of the tougher decisions about future-proofing the sport. So that's where our heads are at